Right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris. I'm dialing in here from cold and freezing South Africa tonight. George is going to be joining me from Mallorca in Spain. He'll be my co-host this evening. And tonight we're going to be talking about agreement number two. Don't take things personally. That is from the book called The Four Agreements. Last week we did agreement number one, which is be impeccable with your word. And over the next two Thursdays, we're going to be going through the rest of the agreements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly play a little 6, 7 minute clip, a little summary on agreement number two, which is don't take things personally. So here goes. Let me just open this up and slideshow beginning. All right, so as we mentioned last week, the book by Don Miguel Ruiz called The Four Agreements. I'll just quickly touch on this again, what the four agreements are. It reveals the source of self-limiting beliefs that rob us of joy and create needless suffering. Based on ancient Toltec wisdom, the four agreements offer a powerful code of conduct that can rapidly transform our lives to a new experience of freedom, true happiness, and love. We're talking about domestication and the dream of the planet. So let me jump right into agreement number two. So, agreement number two is don't take things personally. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality. When you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Right, here goes agreement number two. Oh, wait, let's do the sound and share sound. There we go.
From the outside world. This can be positive or negative stimulus. And how you choose to respond or interpret, internalize that stimulus is what we will talk about here, which brings us to the second agreement. Don't take anything personally. So if I was to walk up to you on the street and say something like, hey, you look so stupid, or you'll never succeed with your business, or hey, you have weird looking eyebrows. Now, if I was to say these things to you and you were to agree with them, you were to agree with my opinions, then that is what it means to take something personally. So it says here in the book, you take something personally because you agree with whatever was said. As soon as you agree, the poison goes through you and you are trapped. Now, in my opinion, what the author is referring to as emotional poison throughout the book are the negative identities that we form within ourselves when we take things personally and we make agreements in our minds. And these agreements can start as small agreements, but over time, these agreements can compound and they can start to consume your life for better or for worse. And very importantly, like we touched on earlier, your subconscious is always working away in the background, and it listens to all these agreements and it gets to work at making them a reality. So if your inner dialogue is filled with a lot of negative self-talk, like I can't do it, I'm a loser, I'm not worthy, then these notions compound and your subconscious is going to find ways to put you in situations which validate these beliefs and then furthermore compound the belief. About them versus about you. So others are going to have their own opinion according to their belief system. So nothing they think about me is really about me, but it is about them. And you may know the saying, your perception of me is the reflection of you. Another quote from the book, nothing other people do is because of you. It is because of themselves. All people live in their own dream, in their own mind. They are in a completely different world from the one we live in. When we take something personally, we make the assumption that they know what is in our world, and we try to impose our world on their world. Now, whenever someone gives you an opinion of you, positive or negative, we must never take it personally. So all opinions do is give you a glimpse into this person's reality, or their dream, as the book refers to it. So, we're all striving to operate at a higher frequency, but, all people are at different levels, higher and lower. And you'll notice this when you communicate with different people, the words that they use, how they communicate. All of these things give you insights into their reality, their paradigm. So don't take the things that others say to you personally, because, different realities, different belief systems, and different frequencies. So he says in the book, and I like this, was don't make someone else's emotional garbage your emotional garbage. Whatever someone says about you is the reflection of them. So it's not about you, but it's about them. Next, when everything around you is great, everything makes you happy. So your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And if you're someone that likes to beat up on yourself, misuse the word on yourself, and you easily agree to the opinions of others, then the chances are the filter or the lens through which you see the world will be tainted with negativity. And this negativity will seep into all facets of your life. And you'll always be finding yourself in these negative situations and associating yourself with negative people. And the opposite of that is also true. So when everything around you is great, everything makes you happy. If the things you consume are positive, the people who you associate with are positive, you love yourself and you use the word impeccably to talk towards others and yourself, then your world in general will become more positive. And just to say it again, so your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. We make agreements to help each other suffer. Misery likes company. And some quotes from the book here. Humans are addicted to suffering at different levels and to different degrees. And we support each other in maintaining these addictions. People are asking for justification for their suffering. It is as if they have a note on their back that says, "Please kick me." They are asking for justification for their suffering. So, people want validation for their suffering. They want to know that they aren't all alone in these negative beliefs and suffering. And what usually happens is that negative attracts negative, or negative people attract other negative people, and they congregate around these negative beliefs and further justify and compound this suffering. And for me, I like to think of it like an echo chamber of negativity. And, people get stuck in these chambers of negativity all the time. So much so that they can't even see that different realities are possible. And in just the same way that congregations of negative people can, compound the misuse of the word and cause greater levels of suffering, positive congregations can do the opposite. So let's take, for example, in business. If you get a room full of, positive entrepreneurs, get them all together, that's where ideas will flourish, and, abundance mindsets will collaborate, and amazing outcomes can be achieved. Finally, for this agreement, keep the agreement with yourself. If you keep this agreement, you can travel around the world with your heart completely open and no one can hurt you. You can say, "I love you," without fear of being ridiculed or rejected. So with practice over time, you will become immune to the opinions of others, and you won't allow others to easily impose their opinions on you. If you need to, put it on your fridge or stick it up on your wall somewhere. Don't take anything personally. You really need to remind yourself of this and practice it day in and day out. So, so let's do a quick recap of this agreement. If you agree with someone's opinion, then you have made an agreement to take it personally. Emotional poison is forming negative identities within yourself. Nothing someone says is about you, but it is about them. Negative people tend to attract more negative people, whereas positive people attract positive people. And always remind yourself to not take things personally.
How awesome is that? Everything is opinion based. When we think about people's opinions, the reason why we take it so personally is because we see it as uh, the word attack, but the person rejecting you. So when a person, because I want to bring it back into LifeWave when we prospecting as an example. So we prospecting, we're sharing LifeWave with people, and a person says no to you. We tend to take it as a rejection. And then what we do is we then take it personally. And, we talk about the ratios of yeses and nos. When a person says no, we understand that a no does not mean no. A no just means not right now. That's all no really means. And we're talking about just um, sharing LifeWay with people and and not being too stuck on what the outcome is. That is one of the most important things, is detaching from the outcome. So what happens is when a person says no to you, or meaning not right now, it just means that they are in a different season. Everything happens in seasons. We've got 4 seasons every year, every 90 days. So every 90 days, you've got a cycle. So you're catching a person in a different season. And, when we're talking about different seasons, it means you're in a different frequency. And I love what he said in the recording, that it's two different worlds coming together. So if you look at what we are sharing with the world right now, I was actually chatting to Harvey and George about it on, I think, Monday or Tuesday. We had a chat, and we were just saying, in the world out there, there's a lot of things that are known or copied. So you've got a concept of something that is known in the world. So yes, everybody understands what network marketing is. That's been around for 100 years. But normally we're talking about traditional products that people know and understand. So if you're talking about nutrition, vitamins, this, that, everybody knows what that is. And here we come and we're sharing something to a person that is alien. It's like it's from another planet. This is like Star Trek stuff. And, we talk about different worlds, different frequencies. We are now talking to people saying, listen, you can rejuvenate your stem cells. First of all, some people don't even know what stem cells are yet. So that's still an education process on its own. But then people who have heard about stem cells, we're now telling people that you can put a patch on your body, and this is going to reactivate your stem cells and change your life forever. Guys, imagine what that could initially, how it could come across, kind of like right over the head going, say, what? You guys on another planet. So that in its own, a person needs to kind of process this information that is coming at them. It's a lot to actually take in. So that's why we talk about we talk about drip feeding people. You've heard us talk about drip feeding before, is by giving people little bits of information that they can process, because it's all about processing information. You look at a computer, a computer processes data, can only process so much at a time before your computer just starts hanging and it freezes. What you got to do, you got to reboot your computer. You got to do a bit of a restart. I think some humans out there should have a restart at least once a day. And some of them should do a defrag as well, just to get things moving properly. But it's a lot to take in. So as a computer can only compute so much information at a time, so can your brain. We've got so much external stimuli coming our way on a daily basis. And your message that you've sent to somebody is just sitting in a queue. Think about it. It's just sitting in a queue. And people are so busy during the day, busy with this, busy with that, busy with this. Kids, work, job, this, that, traffic, load shedding. People have got busy, busy lives. And here you come like this little mosquito. You're like this little irritating little mozzie. You know, trying to go to sleep at night and this little mozzie's flying by your ear. You just want to swat it. You know, you could, if you're sending somebody information at the wrong time, it can be like a little mozzie, irritating mozzie. And that's, you don't want to become. You just want to give people tiny bits of information that they can process. Yeah, little tiny bits, Laura, exactly, that people can comprehend. And then you go obviously to the next step. And if a person says no to you, they're not saying no to you. You know them, they're your friends, they're your family. They're not saying no to you. They're just saying no to your offer right now at that moment. At that moment, that's all they're doing. It's just at that moment. And you're just going to carry on talking to them. And before you know it, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months can go by. And the person will get back to you and say, hey, remember that stuff that you were sending me information about? Please send me more info. And you're going, huh? Where did that come from? I remember talking to people about certain things, and a year later, people send you a message going, hey, I'm interested now. And you're thinking, where's this person been? A lot is happening in the background that you don't know about. I don't want to go too deep into this topic because that goes into next week, not making assumptions, but I'm going to stick to not taking it personally. I look at myself. I'm going to give you a real life example. I was chatting to Lucinda about it earlier this afternoon, and she was like, "Oh, that's quite personal. Do you think you should share that?" I thought, yes, I actually should. You know, the reason being is because it's something that all of us deal with. Family, guys. Family, family, family. You tend to think that your family are going to be your biggest raving fans and they're
Not
going to
one.
love you and support you.
Not one. Not one. Not
Not
one.
one.
Not one. It's like talking to a piece of wood, but I don't talk. I just all the people who tell me no. Actually, yesterday, 2 days ago, I got a message from somebody I told this about 6 months ago, and he says, I'm in Iceland and I'm having trouble with my knees. How are those patches doing? And he'd had paid for stem cell. So he says, please send me your link. You never know, but it's a question of, yeah, never take it personally, even if you get one like the one I forwarded to Chris, which was like, what? The guy's a friend of mine who loves me. He says, I love you, but, and he just went into complete and utter rant. But anyways, my response to all of that is numbers. Numbers, just to keep inviting people, keep telling people. You never know who you're going to meet today, tomorrow, the next day. You know, a guy whose shop I go to once a year to buy a special paint for my boat. I saw he had vitiligo. I said, listen, I got something that maybe can help you. He says, oh, tell me. You know, you never know who you're going to meet today, tomorrow, the next day. And from all the seeds you've sown in the past, you never know what's going to happen. I just got a message that somebody who's been about 2.5 months using the products just sent, he's signing up a massage parlor. So that was, you know, you could think this person isn't going to do anything, will do maybe. No, people go at their own speed, even when they're in LifeWave. You know, we want everybody to go quicker, obviously. Like, it's such a simple story. It's so simple. Manager is 2 people in silver and above. Director is 3 people in silver and above to a manager. But people go through all sorts of personal issues to say, I want to do this, or I think I want to do this, or I don't think I want to do it. So do I really think I don't want to do this? We can go around in circles. Anyway, I just thought I'd add this stuff in. Like we said yesterday, have fun with it as much as anything else. And we are human, and sometimes we do tend to go, with somebody's behavior or action, but it is a very important thing to try and cultivate the art of not taking it personally.
Oh, kind of like you know, what you're saying now is, you know, from a timing point of view, different people will do things at their own pace. And you know, we kind of like go, oh, can't you see this? Can't you see what we see? You know, sometimes I feel like I want to take a conduit from my brain and plug it into somebody just for 10 seconds, just so that you can get a little bit of an idea of what I can see, because 10 seconds is enough. You won't sleep that night. It's like, wow. I mean, what we see is what we see, but it's going to take different people, different times for that penny to drop. And when that penny does drop, wow. And you know what? We've got to love everybody where they are at. We've got to love everybody where they're at, because it's all about the germination process. You know, if you talk to a farmer, any farmer, they will give you such perspective on life because of everything being a process. And you've heard us many times talking about um, sowing of seeds. You know, I can take a bag of seeds right now, and I can put 100 seeds. But listen, I don't know the difference between what a peanut seed looks like and an avo tree and an apple tree. To me, a seed is a seed. And you can take 100 different ones, put them in a packet. I wouldn't have a clue, but they're all different. And I want to go tomorrow. Now the ground is fertile, and I want to go pour these 100 seeds. I've just got to have faith. That's all I've got to do, and just put them in the ground, obviously put them in the holes. And all I've got to do is just water them every day. And in 21 days after planting a lettuce seed, you can pick up that lettuce, cut it, and you can eat the lettuce after 21 days. But you're not going to have an apple tree in 3 weeks. You won't even have an apple tree in probably 6 months or even a year. I think an avo tree is something like 6 years. Never mind bamboo. Bamboo is years and years as well. So every seed is different, and all we've got to do is look after them, and all we've got to do is water the seeds. And like I was saying, you know, I love what he mentioned, that he talks about frequency and different belief systems. So yeah, we'll bring you know, belief systems into this, because some cultures, you'll talk about the word frequency and they're going to go, oh, that's all woo-woo new age type of stuff. No, frequency is actually a scientific proven thing. That's what it is. It's a scientific proven thing. And this is what David Schmidt has tapped into. He's tapped into the frequency code of what's getting done. Is reactivating our stem cells, which is the most amazing thing. And like I said, I think Onyx Cole was saying on the one interview that this is like pretty Star Trek out there stuff. So we always say the biggest thing, the biggest, if you want to call it the convincer, the biggest convincer is this little baby here. This little baby talks 1,000 words. Proof is in the patch, not in the pudding. And let me tell you something. We talk about just catching people. So yeah, we were talking about don't take things personally. So I was talking about family members. So you know, that's the first thing that we do is, you know, when George introduced me to LifeWave end of last year, um, you know, I got so freaking excited because of what it did for me on day 5. I mean, day 5, it literally, my life completely turned around. And it's like, once you put this patch on your body, it does something to your frequency. You get tuned in. You get tuned in. I got tuned into the vision. I got tuned into the vision. I know what we're sitting on right now. We're sitting at the beginning of something that is going to revolutionize the world. That I can promise you. And there's so much exciting stuff coming. But what did I do? Speak to family. I sent information to my brother in the UK. Because guess what? My nephew has got autism. Okay, so I send him the information. He has a look at it, and he says, how can I buy it? Can I get it from the pharmacy here in the UK? And I said, no, you register with my link. Oh, a link. Don't tell me a link. Oh, is that like a pyramid scheme thing? And I'm going, "Ooh, what is wrong with you? It's just the method of distribution. Because if David Schmidt decided to put it into the pharmacies, you'd be paying $500 for a sleeve. Because this is the way that he's kept the prices as low. He's using the network marketing distribution model, where instead of making all these companies that are already so wealthy, making them multi-billions, is rather putting the hands into the pockets of people like you and I, normal, ordinary people like you and I, that have got goals, have got vision, and want to help people with their health and with their health. So that was my brother. He rejected me. Did I take it personally? I just shook my head. But you know what the funniest thing is? I hope he doesn't watch this recording. Well, maybe he should. But he's in debt. He's in debt. And he says to me the other day, he goes, the inflation is so hectic here in the UK. I'm actually, if I work it out, I'm earning less than what I've got to pay out every month. So I've got to do this credit card, that credit card. And I'm saying, and you have the audacity to say something like that to me when I shared LifeWave to you. Anyway, that's his stuff. That's his opinion. That's his issues, not my issues. He doesn't pay my bills, right? So then my uncle, oh, goodness gracious me. Oh, yo, 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 yo. Yo, he just told me straight out. He told me straight out. What do you say? We my aunt has got arthritis, okay? And put the patch on her hand. We were there for a lunch, and she said that about 2 hours later, she said, I don't know what this is, but I can actually feel pain subsiding. You know what he says? He says, take that shit off your hand. What a load of crap, Chris. What are you doing now? And I thought, huh? Excuse me, this company's been around for 19 years. It's registered with the FDA. It's got 133 patents. He goes, this got to be approved by the doctors. He's like old school. If the doctor says, here you go, here's your script, he'll take all the medication and make himself even more sick because the doctor said that because he studied for 7 years. No disrespect to doctors, but a lot of people will put studied people on a pedestal and uh, the opinions of people like you and I, they kind of go, I'll take you with a pinch of salt. So, yeah, when he kind of like said that, that hurt me a little bit. It hurt me for about a good 10 minutes. And then I was like, that's it, whatever, whatever. You ain't paying my bills. And you know what? Um, book, good life, good vibes. Good vibes, good life.
So
You
what,
blow the dog whistle. I blow the
Onyx,
dog whistle. Every morning I blow my dog whistle. And the right people are going to hear my message. And anybody that says no to me, I'm not worried about that. All the person's saying is just not right now, but I'll keep sending bits of information to people. But I just want to say, Mark, I love your background that you just put on your, what do you call it? Yeah, it's your background, your screen. Absolutely love it. It is so cool. It is so cool. I see you got your hand up. George, do you want to chat and then we'll let Mark talk?
yeah, just quickly say to in response to what you're saying, and that's very sometimes it's hurtful and it's hard, especially if you want to take care of your aunt and the guy makes so Onyx, when she talks, she says, I don't care what anybody says. This is written, or it's in my head and it's engraved in my heart, in my heart, and that's the thing. When I watch with people, some people, even though they may be using the product, but it hasn't gone from their head to their heart, because this really is a heart to heart to heart network. And I know we keep saying that that's what makes it so different from any other network or any other multi-level marketing structure. So it's important. Once it's in your head, And when it's in your heart, that's really, then you can survive the slings and arrows of fortune or or crazy uncles. My brother, bless him, he says, "Oh, that's very interesting." That's it. "Oh, that's very interesting. We'll see." A cousin of mine, I told her, I said, she's got muscular dystrophy. She says she's spending all her money on. I said, "Well, maybe you should try this. I've seen some good testimonials for it." And I send her the information. She says, "Oh, I'm not really sure if it's going to work." Means
Yeah.
you don't want to try. It means, anyways. One
I
says,
tell you what also helps with people's comments is when you get your commission paid into your bank account every Wednesday morning. And as a lot of you guys know, I've been with Lifeway for 7 months now. I've personally introduced 34, I think it's 34 people into LifeWave over the last 7 months. So if you work that out, that's not like huge. I mean, 34, if you take 34, you divide that by seven, that's 4.8 people a month. 4.8. But I follow
but
this one.
out of those 34, Chris, how many are actually doing anything?
You work on, as Mark says, you've normally, and this is across the board worldwide, you got the
This is
80/20 rule. That's everything in life, everything, whether it's network marketing, whether it's traditional business, it doesn't matter. I've seen it in many different businesses in my life. But where LifeWave is different, it ain't 80/20. Guys, when we talk about LifeWave different, it's different on so many levels. It's more 70/30. That's the ratio, 70/30. So I've got 3 out of 10 people that are going to be doing LifeWave with or without me. They've taken complete ownership because this is your own business. This is your own business on another man's capital. So you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself, as we all know. But that's the ratio, and that rate, and what's turned into that is I've got over 800 people in my team in just on 7 months, and that's introducing 34 people, which I am over the moon with, over the moon. And
I would add, for me, like I think 26 people I've invited so far, and probably 4 or 5 of them completely disappeared, and about half of them are active, and about 4 to 5 of them are really active. And I like what you just said. People who are going to do it, whether I'm there or not, they've taken it on for themselves, and that's really a key thing to try and help people, inspire them so they do that. And I was going to say something else. Yes, you said when people see your weekly amount. Now, I have a friend who's never paid any attention to anything I've ever been doing, and we've done lots of adventures and play stuff together, but in business, nothing. And I showed her the other day my last 5 weeks, and suddenly she's like, "What's that company called? I'm going to look it up on the internet." I said, "Shall I send you some information?" She says, "No, no, no. I'm going to look it up myself." Interesting.
how crazy
There's
is that? Wow.
a different approach for each person.
Now, I tell you what, when you look at the amazing amount of money that you can earn, I look where I'm at right now. A lot of people study for many years. They can study for 5 years to get a degree. Then you got to work for a company for a good 5, 10 years. And then you look at what a person will earn net, which is obviously after tax. And what I'm earning is a lot more than what a lot of professional people that have studied many, many years, and they've got responsibilities. They've got to be at work every day from 8 to 5. They've probably got like teams and huge responsibilities. Where my responsibility is my team, and what I put in my running costs, or should I say my expenses, very minimal. As long as I've got an internet connection, everything is done for me. This is like your own little mini franchise, so to speak. But it didn't cost me $100,000 to start this mini franchise. All it cost me was $125 plus VAT and shipping. That's all it cost me to start a business, which is an international business in 84 countries around the world. And all it cost me was $125. And not the biggest risk. Guess what the biggest risk of joining LifeWave is? The biggest risk sitting between your two ears. That's where your biggest risk is. Because this is a 19-year-old company that stood the test of time. 19 years old. George and I laugh about it. That was one of the biggest things that got my attention. Stability. Man, have we been looking for stability for a long, long time. And that's what we got right now. I don't think, I was saying to Lucinda the other night, if I had to put an order out to what I would love to be doing with my life, I don't think I could have actually tailor-made it better than what I have got in my hands and in my heart right now. Let me tell you, couldn't have ordered it better. This I know, there's no accidents in life, absolutely no accidents. And every single person sitting on this call is here for a reason. Every person that gets involved with LifeWave, it's for a reason. There's a much bigger purpose. It's all about timing. Nothing happens by accident. Nothing. Mark, I can't wait to hear what you have to say. You did that last night. I saw your hand and I'm going, oh, what's Mark going to say? What's Mark going to say? There we go.
Unmute. Oh, hi,
There we go.
everyone. Chris, I wanted to echo and kind of affirm, I've been a corporate guy for a long time, and I've used the four agreements for years, like 25 years, plus Covey principles, all of that, because I was a business turnaround guy. I went into a business and turned around the infrastructure operations. But I wanted to comment that I had to experience my own family. There's 11 in my family. There's 8 of us remaining, and only one sister jumped on this and said, "Hey, I want to know more about this because I've seen you healing, Mark." All my other family, they just look at me like Mark's practicing some voodoo shit again. But I leave it alone, and I learned that. So the way I reached my Tommy, getting out of the wheelchair, he watched me recover through Facebook. And then he called me, we talked. And I said, "Tommy, I'm going to send you a book." And the book's called The Vitality Secret by Neil Cannon, who's a personal friend of mine. He's a health and wellness, but it talks about body inflammation and what all the seed oils do to you and the toxins in our food and water and how it leads to cancer and all that. So I send the book to Tommy or my buddy Brian. I let it simmer for a month. And then I said, "Hey, learn anything out of the book?" And they said, "Yeah, I'm changing my diet a little bit." Well, long story short, Tommy had no more options with surgery. 33, they wouldn't do surgery at 33 because the aorta attached to the spine. And when he called me, he said, "Mark, obviously what I'm doing is not working, so I want to do everything you're doing." Now, before LifeWave, I healed myself from cancer through cleansing and this Sasea Redox water. LifeWave is like super icing on the cake for me because it's all the additional benefits of my eyesight and what have you. Well, Tommy just wants to thank everyone else that have been there for 40 years of his illnesses and 32 surgeries. I said, "Tommy, my friend, my dear friend, you just do this healing and you'll be such inspiration to everybody." He says, "Fine, I'll do it." So he went into ICU. He almost passed. He almost didn't make it. As soon as he got out and he answered the phone, I said, "Get on the water and the patches immediately." And it's now about 3 weeks, and he's walking around. He rebuilt his guitar. He walked into Sunday school Sunday, and he is my poster child for recovering health. And so when people like a friend has a little bit of arthritis, "Well, I don't know about the patches." I said, "If these patches can help my buddy get out of a wheelchair after 7 years and blood sugar stabilize and oxygenation levels stabilize," I said, "My friend, they'll help you with the arthritis." And I had one guy said, "I don't think there's any effect to this." I said, "But Dick, you've only been on it 3 days. Sleep apnea, right?" And he's a huge guy. And he said, I'm not buying them again. I said, well, I wouldn't buy them either if they didn't work. I said, but Dick, just give it a little bit of time because we all come from different health perspectives. And so anyway, I've had to cross that barrier where I was frustrated. I couldn't get a brother or a sister or someone else. And remember, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I remind myself if they start glassing over and they don't want to hear it, sometimes I just send them the book and say, hey, just read this book. And, Neil Cannon is on the patches. He got me into LifeWave and, of course, met with George. But I just wanted to add that to your story because it's heartbreaking sometimes when someone with such terrible problems will not even try it. But, you circle the wagons, groundswell effect. You get enough people in your circle and they're all doing it. And right now I must have 10 or 12 people. And everyone else is like, what are you guys doing? We're patching, baby. We are patching and getting healthy. Well, I want to know more. So anyway, thank you.
I like that, Mark.
Chris, remember when you had like 10 or 12 people?
Yep.
And look what's happened since then. And I remember when I had like 10 or 12 people, and look what's happened since then. It's amazing. You never know who knows who. And you tell one person, and it's most likely not going to be the first person you think of, or the first person who comes in, you think, they're going to be, and then they completely fade out. It's full of surprises, and
Well,
yeah,
I
constancy.
completely the surprises. Just before we're going to get Laura and her mom on, um, it was actually, I sort of quickly talk about another, if you want to call it rejection, which I could have taken personally, was also end of last year. Leanne knows the person, Stephen, very good friend of mine. I've known Stephen for just over 10 years, very good friend of mine. And I was about 3 weeks onto the patches, and I'd already got results of what it had done for my mom. So I just want to like share this with the world, right? So I said to Stephen, this is by middle of December. So let's meet for coffee. I want to chat to you. We met for coffee, and I had the patches, and I'm showing it to him. I'm explaining everything to him, and I go like this. I put the patch forward so he can at least hold it. And as I put my hand like this, he moves his hand away. And I thought that was quite weird. So I just sort of put the patch down, and then I'm talking. I said, right, it comes in a sleeve of 30, and I hand the sleeve over to him so he can hold it. There's a concept called taken to hand is taken to heart, right? Taken to hand is taken to heart. So I wanted him to at least hold them. Pushed his hands away and he wouldn't touch them. And I thought, wow, that is weird. That is weird. He didn't even want to touch my patches. So I kind of like left it, and I know that he's got a few issues, but health issues, and he didn't say anything. He just like kept quiet. So I left it. So what's interesting is I get home and Lucinda says, "How was your coffee with Stephen? What did he think of the patches?" I'm like, "Oof, I don't know how I feel quite rejected. He wouldn't even touch them." He goes, "You what?" I said he wouldn't even touch them. He like said completely no, not interested. So I just left it. I left it. But guess what? His wife did for Christmas. She bought him this book, Tony Robbins' Life Force. Stephen started reading it on Christmas Day. On the 27th or 28th, Stephen sends me a message. Hey, Chris, you remember those little patches you were talking about with the stem cells? Send me more info. Tony Robbins reckons it's cool. 2 chapters are on stem cells and peptide therapy. Guess what? I send Stephen info, he joins straight away. But I can talk till I'm blue in the face. Means nothing. But Mr. Tony Robbins says something, and all of a sudden Stephen says, I'm in. So it also
Well,
depends on
just for interest sake, how did the patches work for your friend Stephen?
his arthritis on his fingers has disappeared. His fingers were actually quite skew. Pain gone. His fingers are straightening up. His pain is completely gone. His oxygen levels have gone from like 92 up to 97, 98 oxygen levels. His scars. Now, This is crazy. You think you've had an operation 10 years ago, scar tissue, right? His scars have started disappearing. Spots that he's had on his arms have cleared up as well. His hair is starting to grow. I mean, his whole life is completely
And
changing.
what does he say now?
Oh, I think he's signed up about 5 or 6 people already, and he's absolutely loving it. He says he'll never not take the product. And this is somebody that told me no to my face. It wouldn't even touch my patches. How crazy is that? But yeah, it's all about, having that paradigm shift. You know, I- we all know what a paradigm shift is. That a paradigm shift comes from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. He talks about a paradigm shift, and a paradigm shift is when you've got your own idea of something, your own opinion on something, and then you hear the truth. And then you hear the truth, and now all of a sudden it's like Pandora's box has been opened. It can never be closed again. You cannot unsee what you have now seen, and all of a sudden your brain starts to open up. I'm going to give you guys an example. I want everyone to type in. I'm actually gonna read a nursery rhyme to you, and I want you to type in. I'm gonna read this quick little nursery rhyme. Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Can you type in the box? What is Humpty Dumpty? Does anybody know what Humpty Dumpty is? What did you think it is? I'm gonna type in here. I'm gonna type in what Humpty Dumpty is.
I used to know.
No, hang on, wait. Let me just go to here. I'm gonna go to everybody here, send to all, everyone in meeting. An egg. There we go. I've typed in. Okay, so what do you guys think? What did Humpty Dumpty had a great fall? We've all seen the children's rhyme. He's sitting on a wall. Humpty Dumpty. He's a. What is he? What is Humpty Dumpty, guys? Shaped like this. What is Humpty Dumpty? An egg. Stella, yes. Okay. Stella says Humpty Dumpty is an egg. Leanne says Humpty Dumpty is an egg. Sharon says Humpty Dumpty is an egg. Yes. Okay. I'm going to tell you something tonight that is going to give you a paradigm shift, something that is going to change your life right now, tonight. Humpty Dumpty is not an egg. Guess what Humpty Dumpty is? Cannon. Humpty Dumpty is a cannon. In the English Civil War between 1642 and 1649, King Charles I, on June 1648, a cannon was called Humpty Dumpty. It was stationed on the walls of Colchester. The walls started getting damaged because of the fighting, and Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall into the valley. Hence, Humpty Dumpty, the cannon, had a great fall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. So there we go. You've just had a paradigm shift tonight. On the next time you see Humpty Dumpty, the egg, or that you ever see the nursery rhyme or you hear it, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, you're never going to think of it as an egg again. You will always remember tonight that Humpty Dumpty is actually a cannon. And that's what happens. That's what happens in life. That's what happens when we are sharing LifeWave to people. You're going to have a paradigm shift because you've got a previous belief system because of the system that has created it. So, in other words, you've been brainwashed. As we know, we've been programmed, we've been conditioned by the big corporations to think and do things a certain way. And here we come across with something brand new. You will have your paradigm shift when you put this patch on you. That is when you're going to have that paradigm shift. And you will then start to see things very differently. You'll never see it the same as it used to be. So, yeah, that's a paradigm shift. Laura, let me unmute you. You got your mom on the call there. There we go. Let me ask you to unmute. Your mom is looking great. I've seen the before and after photos. Laura is from Beirut.
Hello, guys.
How are you
Hello,
doing?
guys. Great, great. As a frontline worker, the past 3 years, like my gratitude for LifeWave is beyond words. We all know what we're talking about. No need to go back to that. On August 4, 2020, we had the explosion here. So in 1 millisecond, we lost everything, and mom was torn up, all of her, and we lost so much. You know, this was all gone. She had, and back then I asked questions about everything: medication crisis, fuel crisis, all of it. I did not want to play by the system. So I started asking questions and found my way to natural, beautiful things. So like Humpty Dumpty, which refers to thermodynamics and more. Mom's scar was like this. So I was asking for a miracle, and George replied once. Actually, I was doing a fundraiser for victims, the children, and most were not talking to me. George replied, and as his way of helping, he talked about LifeWave, and I was, yes. 2 days, guys, 2 days. It was like this. Chris knows the photos. In 2 days,
This was 1 month ago.
I mean, we were strayed on the streets for hours. Like everything was gone. So now it's a dream come true to be on LifeWave and to be able, with network marketing, rebuilding financially, but health, to live without medication is...
No, health comes first.
Health comes really, health. I'm a researcher, scientist, data. I have every single data of the past 20 years and more. So we are really very grateful for you, Chris, George, LifeWave. I'm gold now and I'm going platinum in 2 weeks, but I'm aiming at diamond. So
Wow.
yeah, me too. Just like Chris, I was even like everyone was, no, what are you doing? You don't know, what are you doing? But I did what felt light for me. So
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh,
yeah,
thank you, Laura.
and I've had many other surgeries before and not invasive. So I never wanted to go do chemo or anything. And Mark, you gave me hope, by the way. So
Wow.
yeah, I'm being patient. I will have a checkup. I finally found a doctor. I've spoken to 90 million people the past 3 years just because I asked one question: what is right about this? So as a frontliner, what we see now on the ground is heartbreaking. I cry daily, tears of gratitude also. So this is the perfect time, and I'm just we are very thankful.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Oh,
George.
thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Laura. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Absolute
yeah,
pleasure.
access, yeah, bars and other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No,
Any
sorry.
other questions? Chris
No,
says,
no,
and light
sorry.
therapy, Humpty Dumpty, electrodynamics, all of it. Like this research I have done, even how to detox, like, anything you need, post, pre, whatever, just ask, reach out anytime. I spend 6 hours doing research, be it LifeWave or every illness, air quality, whatever is going on, and I have solutions. So
Wow.
yeah,
No, thank you for that.
my message to humanity was no one had to suffer alone if they did not have money. That was
Powerful. Sure.
it. And I called my I'm rebuilding my center. I'm opening my center, and I called it "Gift the Miracle of Life." So it inspired globally, and I ended up on something beautiful like World Council for Health, and we are here for you guys.
Hey,
You're a
Laura,
true
thank you.
inspiration. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you so
As I
much.
say, many were called, few were chosen.
So, guys, I think I go back to what I say pretty much in the last few calls. Patience and passion on the one hand, persistence and consistency on the other hand, and multiplied by time. Time will do what it does. You don't need to worry about that. You just need to, if you want to take this, if you want to take LifeWave far, just put it in your head, engrave it in your heart, and like Onyx says, swing the bat every day.
I love that. Swing the bat every day. Yep, yep, yep. Yeah, no, this is exciting. This is so exciting. Guys,
And what
yeah,
Javi says, Javi always says, give this a season, and a season to 1 to 2 year season. You know, and I sponsored a young guy the other day, 26 years old. I said, I wish I'd been your age and come across this, because if you give this energy for the next 4 years, you never have to think about money in your life again. And this is a young lad who did too much partying, let's say, and he ended up in hospital with at death's door, and he's had a big wake up call, and so he's very excited about LifeWave.
wow. No, that is truly amazing. Looking at like you say, giving it a season. You've also heard of Onyx and them talking about 24 to 36 months. This is a marathon, not a sprint race. And it's all about just having perspective on it. And there's also a thing called slow down to speed up. Might sound contradictory, but sometimes you just got to go at your pace and build the foundation beautifully and solid, which is what we're doing. And we're just a beautiful team. We're a beautiful community, and we're going to be walking a long journey together. So from my side, thank you for taking the time out. I hope you've learned something this evening. George, thank you for co-hosting. Mark,
Well,
Laura, thank you for your
always.
input. It's an
Thank
absolute
you,
pleasure,
everybody.
guys. Pleasure. And then, I'll put the recording up. And then next week, next week, that's going to be a cool one. Next week, Thursday, we've got Don't Make Assumptions. That's agreement number 3. So we're going to cover that. And then otherwise, we'll see you guys on the international Zoom call, ones that Quantum Field do on Saturday night. I'll be on Loving Life channel tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Everybody's welcome to pop on and hear my life story. Pretty crazy. And then otherwise, next week, we'll see you guys on the Zooms and then speak to you guys on the group. Okay, guys, enjoy your evening. Love you all. Good night, everybody. Cheers, guys.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Pleasure.
Bye bye.